Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dragon Talk. How's it going? I am Greg Tito, and I'm joined by...
Shelley Mazzanoble.
As well as two other amazing people.
Where?
I don't know.
What?
They're right there.
I don't see them.
Hi.
Hey.
Who are you talking to?
No longer invisible.
This is weird.
Hi. You broke my concentration on my spell, Shelley.
I love it. We have Mr. Chris Perkins.
Hi.
And Kate Irwin.
Hello.
Yay.
So we're going to get to an interview with you guys talking all about Waterdeep Dragon Heist very soon. But you'll have to bear with Shelley and I as we get through our fun announcements.
Oh, yeah.
All of the things that D&D is doing. And there is quite a lot. But we're going to run through them fast. So one thing I wanted to get out there for all of you in the world is that Unearthed Arcana is right now live and available for you to playtest on D&D Beyond, as well as downloading the PDF from the Wizards website. There's 4 races that you can try out that will be featured in Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica, which is on everybody's mind right now here in the Wizards office because we're getting it out there very soon. It's going to the printer this week.
The week after.
Whoa. That's
So-
really soon. I feel like you guys just started working on that.
It's been a long
Oh my
time
God.
coming. But getting it up to shipshape form. So 4 fun races there. So check it out if you can. And then, of course, Wayfinder's Guide to Eberron is available in the DM's Guild and D&D Beyond right now. What is that, you might ask?
What is that?
It is a PDF that was largely written by Keith Baker, as well as some other folks from the D&D community. That's all about Eberron, the 5th edition version of Eberron, which was a setting that Keith created. Gosh, was that 2002 when that contest was, Chris?
The contest, I think, was either late 2001 or early 2002.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it might have been sooner than that because we published the setting in 2003.
Right.
And we probably had at least, if I recall, a year and a half to work on it. So.
Crazy. So it's almost 15 years at this point.
Oh my God, yeah.
Which is
The
crazy to think about.
anniversary.
I remember being a fan and being like, "Oh, this is so exciting! I can't wait."
Yeah.
So Keith has updated everything for 5th edition, and it's up for you guys to go check out and test. It's a super big document, like 170 pages of stuff, including the dragon marks, new races, and all the fun stuff in there. So go check it out if you can. And then the last thing I wanted to kind of hit before we get to, our segment and everything is Adventures Outlined is out now. Todd James coloring book, and my kids are furiously doing crayons and pencils all over.
His kids.
Yeah, I know. Which is just me and my wife. Exactly. But it's got great images that are line drawings by Todd James, so perfect for taking imaginative colors, really. And then on the opposite page, there is text written by Adam Lee, who used to write, I don't know if anybody knows this, but used to write greeting cards.
Yes.
Information, poetry, and things like that. So it's got like that kind of flair on the pages talking about D&D, IP, and lore, which I get a kick out. I really love that. Are you excited about that book, Kate?
I am. I haven't actually gotten a copy of it yet.
I haven't either.
I blame Nathan on that one.
Oh,
That's totally Nathan's fault.
Always. Unless it's you.
Yeah, wait a minute. I thought we were supposed to blame you, Tito.
I've seen copy. Well, now you have to get one, and we're gonna like strap you down until you start drawing it. There's a sticker for it.
Yep, there we go.
They're blaming me, you
Blame
guys.
Tito.
It's part of the hashtag. It is true. I shall be blamed. I take full responsibility for not getting Kate for a copy. But I want to see what the fun stuff you do with it.
We should have a coloring contest.
We really should.
I ain't competing with you. Mm-mm.
Oh, I
I mean,
I'll
maybe if we have
probably
different
win. You're right,
categories,
you're right.
like professional versus amateur.
professional coloring.
Artist and non-artist.
Artist and non. I'm going definitely
that.
in the non-artist category.
That's cool. Well, it's out now, and I can't wait to see people doing it. I think we had a hashtag for it. Now I'm misremembering it. Tom, do you remember what Satine had set aside for a hashtag for that? Go look it up because it was good, and we wanted to kind of collect everybody's artwork in one place and share it out as much as we can. So that is super cool. I can't wait to see what people do. It's out there. Endless Quest books are coming out September 4th. You were just saying how there was going to be some Dungeon Master Quinn.
Dungeon Master Quinn. Quinn the Nut Puncher.
He's learning how to do it all from these books.
Yes.
They're great ways to, for all kids of all ages, not just kids, but adults of all ages as well, getting into the different classes. So there's 4, one for each of the classes in the basic rules. So fighter, rogue, cleric, and wizard. And hopefully your protagonist will not perish very soon.
But if they do, turn the page.
That's right.
Start over.
Go backwards.
It's fine.
It's like a core tenet
It's a
of
really
gaming.
good. Yeah, it's a good lesson for future D&D players
Exactly.
Or life in general.
or life in general.
Try again.
Right?
Yes.
See, these are life lessons that we all get to learn.
Yep.
You guys are also working on Waterdeep Dungeon of the Mad Mage, right?
Yes.
That's
Correct.
yes. In fact, I pulled Chris away from this just for this very interview as he was
true.
busy working on it. That comes out in game stores on November 2nd, and it'll be available everywhere on November 13th. What's a quick summary of what's in Dungeon of the Mad Mage?
So it's for levels 5 to 20. It picks up where Waterdeep Dragon Heist leaves off, and it's basically, hey, this is the Forgotten Realms' biggest dungeon, and we show off 23 levels of the dungeon plus Skullport, a sort of a dungeon adjacent location of importance in Undermountain. So basically, if you're looking for a fun, big dungeon crawl where every level of the dungeon is kind of its own little dungeon, guess what?
That's where it is.
Fun times. There's a lot of crazy, kooky stuff in the dungeon too, so people will get a kick out of it.
I love seeing the artwork up on the walls for it. It's
Oh,
been
yeah.
very iconic and weird and strange, and
Yeah.
you just want to tell stories in it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So we'll talk more about that book.
We had so many playtesters on this product, more playtesters than we've ever had on any other book previously, aside from the core rules.
Is that true?
Why?
Yeah,
I know that.
yeah. We sent it out to
it's
piles and
quite
piles of playtesters, and each asked them to playtest a particular level of the dungeon.
Oh.
And so when you have 23
So
levels,
it's like,
yeah, and you want 10 to 15 playtest groups doing each level.
Have the 23 different levels been explored to this extent before?
No.
Has anyone ever seen all 23 levels of the dungeon before?
Well, to be fair, there are actually probably more than 23, but we've hit all the major levels.
Okay.
So, but the answer to your question is no, it's never been done before. This
So
is a first. We've
could
done
you-
some shallow dives, and we've done some, like, here's one of the deep levels, here's another of the deep levels, but we've never said, here's all the deep levels.
Did you get to just say level 19? Clowns. Like, nobody's been here before. It's
Yeah.
up to me.
And then all the
Well,
you're
playtesters
the
had to be
Mad
clowns as
Mage.
well.
All of the levels at least had like a paragraph describing what they are. Ed Greenwood had sort of locked down the basics.
Oh, sure.
Sort
Probably
of-
when he was 7.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when he was 7-year-old Ed sat down and he said, what are the 23 levels of the dungeon? And he said, okay, well, this level's going to have clowns.
That's where the
really
clowns came
scary.
from. That makes total sense.
Actually, it was more like, this is the ooze level. And
I
this
hope
is
the ooze level is not like a higher up level.
this is the
'cause I
maze.
feel like
They would
level
dribble down.
made all
level
the ooze
19.
levels in a way.
There's like the maze level, and then there's a level called Arcturia Doom, which is named after a powerful wizard named Arcturia.
Doom.
Doom, because in the Forgotten Realms, a lair, another word for lair, is doom,
Oh.
particularly a lich's lair.
Oh, yeah.
It's a little bit of lore you should know stuck in the
It
middle of
is.
this.
good.
Yeah, right. We talked about
Yeah, so-
Lich's lair.
There are two
Open a
levels.
tavern.
There are two doom levels of Undermountain. There's Arcturia Doom, which is the 14th level, and then there's Van Rack Doom, which is the 18th level.
All right, so
there's more dooms than you could possibly imagine.
Yeah,
but they're not
double
all
the
called
doom.
Double the doom.
We're doubling down on doom. It's crazy up here. And the Mad Mage.
But we are it's not a small book either.
It's a large one.
Yeah.
There's a
Sounds
lot
like
in there.
it has to be.
To get away from Doom, we're going to talk about Hope. With Extra Life 2018, we have a whole bunch of stuff going on for that promotion. We've done Extra Life at the D&D for 5 years, raised more than $500,000 for the Seattle Children's Hospital, and this year we are doing that the same. So it'll start off on November 3rd. We will have a whole bunch of streaming games from The Office happening. I believe actually Bart's in one of them, and Adam is doing some more, and there's lots of other folks who are doing it here. And then all week long, streamers from all of our programming will be participating, creating
That's
pages,
awesome.
raising money, and it's all going to end at Game Hole Con in Wisconsin with a whole bunch of live stream games from there as well.
That's right.
Raising tons of money. Did you create your page yet?
I have not created my page
You
yet.
got to create. I have to create my page too.
Yeah.
I haven't done
I
it
just found out who's playing in my group at Game Hole Con.
yet. Okay,
so
cool. Yeah, there are some fun secret people, I think, in your group.
I got some fun folks.
Yeah, it'll be really cool. But Mike Merles might be beating you out. He's got some crazy loot that's already available up there.
Oh.
He was like the champion fundraiser
Yeah,
last year.
He was, and he's doing the same thing this year where
He's got a lot more free time than I do.
he's now working on 2 books coming out. $2,500 donation, and he'll create your own custom subclass for you alone to use. And I think that he's limiting those to only 4. I'm not sure if they're sold through yet,
Oh, that's not fair.
that's pretty great, though. They sold out in a day last year. As well, $250, and Mike will create a custom DM screen for you.
For me?
For you, which is awesome.
Really?
And then, of course, you can also just do a smaller donation for $20, and he'll send you a book plate that he's signed that you can put in any one of your Dungeons & Dragons book as if Mike had signed it. But he just signed the plate. People love book plates. They're
Book
really
plates
great.
are awesome.
So yeah, that's just some of the amazing stuff out there. Please join a team if you're interested in playing Dungeons & Dragons at any point during 2018 to raise money for Extra Life. It's super important to fund medical care and fun stuff for kids who are in that thing. So I look forward to all of the fun this fall, and it's for a good cause. So
Seattle Children's Hospital fixed Quinn's busted head. So
is that true?
I'm going to play this year.
Is this,
I'm getting over my fear of playing D&D live.
you're gonna do it for Quinn?
I'm doing it for Quinn's
I love
busted
it.
head.
I love it.
Yep.
We're gonna do it for your
We're
busted
doing
head.
it for your busted head. I don't know what. I don't have. I can't create a subclass for anyone. But I could for $20, I'll steal something off your desk and send it to someone.
That's great, but see, I mean, we get away from the physical fulfillment because it always ends up being so hard. So do something digital. Be like, I will smack Greg in the face during a Dragon Talk recording.
I'll record hitting Tito in the face.
See, that's something you can
Send you an
do,
email.
and then everybody gets the reward for that one.
I'll take a picture of Chris Perkins when he least expects it.
Eyes caught in headlights. That's good stuff. All right, well, let's go to one of our fun segments. With that, it'll just be us looking at Chris Perkins' face.
There we go.
Some people would love that.
Excellent. All right, we're back now. Hello, Twitch people. How are you today? We are going to jump right into our interview with these amazing folks about Waterdeep Dragon
Tell us
Heist.
everything.
Chris, let's start with you. Waterdeep Dragon Heist, when did the idea come to in your mind to do this story?
The idea actually came into somebody else's mind. I think it was Merle's.
You took it.
But yes.
Inception.
Yeah. The idea to basically do a city-based adventure. After a series of adventures where we've kind of gone everywhere,
Yeah.
to Chult, all across the north, things like that, coming back to civilization seemed like a good thing to do.
Yeah.
And to sort of show off what a city or urban adventure in 5th edition would look like.
Mm-hmm.
And so we settled on Waterdeep because it was it's big, metropolitan, lots of things can happen there. It's a great hub for a campaign, and of course there's a big-ass dungeon underneath it.
Nice.
So we hit upon pretty early that we would not only deal with the city, but in some respects deal with the dungeon underneath and sort of treat them like companions.
Mm-hmm.
But for Waterdeep Dragon Heist, we wanted the story to be relatively small in comparison to the world-shaking events that we're accustomed to. And we just thought, okay, well, if we're going to be in a city and we want to sort of show the city off, what kind of story, with a certain amount of intrigue, with a certain amount of action, really kind of is tailor-made for this environment. And sometime later, I pitched the idea of a heist. And Mike liked it because we could play up some of the tropes of like the Italian Job and Ocean's 11 and typical heist films and sort of incorporate some of the elements of those into the story.
Yeah.
And then
About how long ago was that? Just
that was
an idea of
3 years ago.
3 years ago.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
That's really cool that there's such like a long lead time
Yeah.
to talking about.
Yeah.
Then at what point do you start thinking about the interior artwork? This is Kate Irwin. Hi, Kate.
Hello.
She is an art director here at Dungeons & Dragons. And you deal mostly with the interior art of our products, right?
Correct. Yes.
So when did you start hearing about what was being talked about for Dragon Heist?
Well, we start hearing about it more than a year in advance because we do a guide for all of our licensees, so that everybody can kind of get on board with this same story that we're presenting to people. And even before that, we had a meeting where it was just kind of laid out for us. This is what the next story is going to be. So we get excited about it and can prepare for that. But then when the book actually happens, I would think I was commissioning the art for this around the end of last year.
We started to get, I think, sketches in November, December of last year.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So almost a year before it's in the hands of the players.
That's really cool. And the artwork for Dragon Heist and Waterdeep in general is a great way to kind of solidify what the visual look of a city is, especially in like the 5th edition era of D&D, right?
Right. And a lot of that work was done prior to me getting anything with Richard Witters and Sean Woods doing the concepting, world building.
Oh, right.
There were other artists that, of course, were involved with that concept push as well.
That's really cool. I remember seeing all the row houses from the different wards and stuff,
Right.
and how they would all look. And
And doing costuming on the various, like the city watch and the city guard and all that kind of stuff, and trying to solidify some of that.
Yeah.
And kind of reinventing some of the main characters like Jarlaxle. And
So what is that all like though? What does that look like when you're reinventing something? Like a character that people have seen before, and now it's a new story, and maybe even this is the first time in an edition that they come up. What is that? How do you do that?
there is a lot that goes into it. There is with a character like Jarlaxle, there's a lot of lore about him.
Right.
So Richard, as the owner of world building, kind of goes through that information and picks and chooses the things that resonate with people, the things that are most interesting, and I don't have the word, but the things that people expect.
Right.
Like it wouldn't be Jarlaxle without his purple hat or his eye patch, but then it's like, well, how do we update it for 5th edition? How do we make it cooler? How do we make it more interesting and add layers to it? And that's what he and his art team do.
Nice. And then so you take that concept art and then figure out a way to get the commission artist to create
get
stuff in that same
spirit.
vein, right?
Yeah. And actually, the Jarlaxle piece is kind of funny because Tyler Jacobson did a black and white sketch of him, and people really responded well to it. And then for like Whiz Kids doing a mini, they needed a color version, so Sean Wood put color to it. And then when we got time for the book, we were like, you know what, we're not showing Jarlaxle in here. Maybe we should do this. And so Richard then kind of tightened up that sketch. And so that one piece of art actually has 3 artists' hands in it.
Oh, that's cool.
It doesn't usually happen like that,
No.
but
That is rare.
Yeah.
I like that. Jarlaxle is the son of many fathers.
Always
Yes.
gets the most attention.
somehow.
Always demands the most resources. Yeah.
I love that.
Well, we mentioned Jarlaxle a few times. He's one of the 4 villains in this storyline, right?
5 technically.
5? Oh, right.
Yeah, because one of the villains is actually a married couple. They're a team. But yes, there's a villain for each season in which the story can take place, or villains, as the case may be. And that wasn't something we set upon early. It was only while we were breaking the story and trying to figure out who the villain would be that we decided we were going to go with multiple villains. Simply to do something we had never done before.
Right.
We had never done an adventure where the DM can pick the villain and the villain you choose sort of determines the season in which the story takes place.
Oh, that's how I was wondering.
Yeah.
Do we have to go through all of them to get to the end? But it's you just
No.
Choose your own
You-
adventure.
you pick your own
Choose your
villain,
own villain.
and you don't have to use the other three, or the other three could come in sort of a satellite or secondary way. They could even be allies, the other ones.
Oh.
So,
Yeah, I like the way
love
you've
that.
set it up because it reinforces the tapestry of a city, right?
Yeah.
Like there's never one
Right.
bad guy in New York City, for example. There's always multiple areas and
Yeah.
factions, and even looking at Gangs of New York or something like that. There's all these like different competing interests.
yeah. And part of me knew that as people play through the adventure and we're starting to hear about the shared experience of Dragon Heist, we're going to hear stories that are slightly different because of the villains that people chose. And I think that's going to be very interesting for people to
I think so,
hear.
too.
This is how the adventure played out when our villain was the
Yeah.
Xanathar, compared to how the adventure played out with you guys, where Jarlaxle was the villain.
It's
Yeah.
kind of like a legacy game.
A little
Everybody
bit,
has
yes.
different paths that they
Correct.
take.
Yeah.
Replayability.
Replayability.
And if you're a DM and you want to run it again, but you don't want to play the same boring villain as last time, you can
Yeah.
choose a different one.
Yeah.
So then if you choose a different one, you have different story hooks and elements and things to incorporate into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
because
it will be
each villain
different for the
villain has a
players.
different motive for why they're doing the thing that they're doing. And the villain you choose also defines several of the threats in the adventure that you meet. So you meet the Xanathar's cronies instead of, Jarlaxle's
Right.
drow operatives.
And we talked a lot about this at the stream of Many Eyes about what the heist was actually about. But can you tell us what
Money!
Money.
Yeah.
money.
Yeah. Good Heist is about money.
Oh, I should have brought coins so we
That
could
is-
actually have the actual
I have
physical.
some on my
Oh,
disc, too.
yeah.
I
That's
know.
kind of sad.
Oh, that makes
have, like,
sense why
piles
you
of
were
them.
giving out the coins.
Yes.
That's right. There are all these
Part
gold
of the heist.
dragons.
Didn't even know it.
There's a crap ton of gold hidden away in Waterdeep by the previous Open Lord, and the villains want it for bad reasons, and you want to keep it out of their hands for good reasons.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
That's
there's
basically the long and short of it.
a lot of bad things people can do when they have a lot of resources.
Yes. And what's funny, at least one of the most entertaining things about writing this adventure was inserting distractions. Because in a city, there's all these other things going on, of course. You're on this quest to stop these villains from getting the gold, but then this other thing sort of intrudes upon the story. How do you deal with that, and how far does that deflect you off of their path?
Or does that become even the new mission? Like maybe
Right.
that
Exactly.
you can just kind of
Yeah.
go through that
there
episode.
are a lot of
and-
distractions
Yeah.
that kind of insert themselves into the character's business.
Bidness.
Up in
Bidness.
the business.
Speaking of bidness, you can actually run a bidness in
I love that
Waterdeep
too.
Dragon Heist. Yeah.
What? What can I be? What can I do?
You can be the owner of a tavern.
I want that.
Yeah.
I want
Lich's
that for
Lair.
Yeah.
You. Yeah.
Isn't that a good name?
That is a good
That
name.
is a good name.
I mean, you could just call it Doom. But
Doom. Shelley's Doom.
We're
Shelley's
going to Doom tonight.
Same thing we ever do every night, Shelley.
Doom tonight.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah,
yes.
but it doesn't have to be a tavern, right? It can be
Correct.
anything the
Bakery.
characters want.
Yes. But to get back on the sort of the four villains thing, one of the, and to sort of tie this into art,
Yeah.
is in order to, we not only had to have art for all the villains in the story, but we also wanted to make sure we showed off all of the seasons and how Waterdeep changes from season to season. And one of the ways we decided to do that was in some marketing pieces of art
Yes.
that ended up in the book
Yep.
that show Waterdeep in each of the four seasons from the point of view of some of Waterdeep's inhabitants, in this case, a trio of street urchins.
Little rascals.
Little rascals.
yeah.
Little
Yeah.
rascals. I love that.
Little rascals playing in the streets of Waterdeep in the various seasons. And that led us to,
Oh, there they are.
There they are.
The
Let's see.
ragamuffins.
Whose
Yes.
idea was that to do it from showing them in all four seasons? You again.
It always comes back to Chris.
yeah.
So who are our three urchins there? What do we see?
There's Jenks with his little toy.
He's a little owlbear.
Familiar.
Oh, cute.
He's the
Nat-
wizard.
Yes. Nat is the fighter.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And Squidly
He's
is
our ranger.
Squidly.
Squidly the
Squidly.
tiefling.
Yes.
Little baby boy
Oh, it says
tiefling. That's so cool.
ragamuffins. So
yeah.
cute.
Yes.
Yeah.
What I love about this artwork, though, too, it shows what citizens of the city are, not necessarily adventurers, even though they do
Right.
have archetypes that map
Yeah.
to adventurers.
It was
but, like,
important to me in the art not just to show heroes like we always do in our art, but
Yeah.
to sort of get at something that's true about Waterdeep is, children live there.
Exactly.
And they have lives in Waterdeep just like everybody else does. So let's see them do their thing.
Should we go through talking about each one of the seasons? You want to start with winter?
Sure.
That makes
Sure.
sense. Yeah.
Winter.
Well, winter is a
Winter.
really fun one.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
we
So,
go.
Shauna Narciso commissioned these pieces. She worked with Eric Deschamps, and so we were trying to show each of the villains in the image, but we didn't really want the kids to be too
Fighting the
threatening.
villains, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
So they're often just suggested obliquely.
What's happening in each? Yeah.
Yeah. Like, for instance, the villain of Winter is tied to the Zentarum, and the Zentarum use flying snakes as their messengers. So we got a flying snake in the yellow. That ties into the villain.
That's gross. We don't
What?
need flying snakes. The world does not need them. Not
Yeah,
a fan.
But those are cool because you get to see, they were having like a snowball fight. Is that what was going on? Kind of in
Yeah.
the background,
They're
just
like
slice of
regular-
life.
Yeah.
being kids.
This I gotta say, it probably because I'm weak because I have a kid, but like the thought of like kids in Waterdeep now makes me feel like different as an adventurer. Like now, like the stakes are higher.
Right.
Right.
Like I never thought about kids being in these places,
Yeah.
and now I know they're there.
Yeah.
Now I actually do want to
Yeah.
really save Waterdeep.
And we liked
That's
we,
true.
we liked Eric's art so moved us that when we decided we were going to put the pieces in the book, I wanted to make sure that in the course of each, no matter which villain you chose or which story route you're on, you can actually meet these kids
Oh,
and you can interact with them, and they can actually interfere in the story to
'Cause
a
they're
certain extent,
kids.
as they're wont to do.
Yeah.
So
Or
we-
help
yeah.
the story
It wasn't in our original outline, but we wrote them into the story
because of these.
because of these pieces that Eric
wow!
That's super cool. I didn't know that.
did. Yeah,
He literally brought them to life.
he did.
Yep.
Yep.
And now, players can bring them to life, hopefully very soon.
Mhm.
You already have, haven't you? Haven't you used them in?
Yes, they now are regular fixtures in my weekly dice camera action game.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's look at spring as the next season, right?
Springtime.
What does spring look like?
Nice.
Ooh.
So this one, obviously, it's the Beholder. That one's pretty cut and dried in the springtime.
Yep.
You can see
Oh.
the little
Oh.
sprouts.
I didn't
The little shadow.
Are you dying over there? You're still trying to talk. You're like, oh God, look at that.
The builder. Oh, wow.
That's what the Xanathar sounds like in my game now going
Oh
forward.
God! Wow.
But again, I like that too because you don't get to see the Xanathar wouldn't really show himself, but you could see the shadow of him
Yeah.
upon these urchins, right? Because they would at least know that there's some crime syndicate going on, right?
That would
Yeah,
just be
they-
weird to see like just a beholder just floating down the street.
You do see a lot of weird things floating or walking down the streets in Waterdeep, but a
yeah.
beholder would be a little over the top.
But
yeah.
we just saw his shadow.
Yeah.
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 So like, is it like a shark? Like I've always heard, if you see a shark and you're in the water, it's too late. Like you're dead.
No, that's not true.
Is that true with a
No.
beholder? Like you see him rolling down the street.
Depends
and
what
it's
the
like,
beholder wants.
Well, what does a beholder want? He's not
Candy.
Yeah.
A goldfish,
Yeah.
Yeah. In this
A
case,
gold, maybe he is looking for fish food.
maybe.
maybe.
He's looking for
Yeah.
Petco or
For
something.
poor Sylvia.
Maybe.
Yeah.
He's looking for a pet go.
Where
that's
the
just
pets
one of-
go
that's
and
just
beholders.
one of the
and you can run a
businesses.
behold or a Petco. Yes.
There you go. That's what I would do. I would run a fish
Totally.
food store so he would keep me alive.
It's where all the story hooks are beginning.
Yes.
It's very cool.
Remarkably well protected fish store.
Right. So yeah, let's look at what's the fall, summer. Summer is
Summer.
next.
Summer.
Why am
Don't
I like
skip
I
summer.
don't know what seasons occur in what
Yes,
order.
we all want summer to end.
So tell us about this one.
So this one has the castle lanterns. I always
right.
say it like they're lanterns.
Like you're holding
up a
instead of
lantern?
Yeah.
Castle lantern.
Castle lanterns.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah.
This-
She
this-
just looks like a normal lady,
does.
but he knows there's something else going on here.
She's a villain.
And that's Jenks, who's
Yeah.
Yeah, Jenks has caught her eye, or vice versa, and she's giving him a piece of fruit.
Uh-oh.
it's a little suspicious.
Tempting
him, looks like, in
You
a
know,
way.
there's never a bad
knows
story
better.
that happens when you give a beautiful looking apple to someone.
Yeah.
It's always the best intentions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We know that.
And
What could go
if
wrong?
anybody who reads the adventure will know that the crows that are in the scene, there's more to them than meets the eye.
Oh.
What about the purple visage behind us, behind them there?
Okay. So this scene in the summer is actually set during a festival period called Founders Day, which celebrates historical figures of significance in Waterdeep. So people like Pirgaron, Paladin's son, one of the open lords of Waterdeep, is a very famous figure. Agaron, the first Waterdeep open lord and archwizard, is often portrayed. So their visages are kind of suggested.
Got it. That makes sense.
Yep.
And Founders Day is very important for the Castellanters as well.
Indeed, yes. They have big plans for Founders Day.
It's true.
Big evil plans.
Did you make up Founders Day, or is
No,
that
that's
something
actually
that
in the lore. Yeah. A number of festivals play an important role in the stories. In spring, Trolltide does. Founders Day in the fall. The Day of Wonders in Founders Day in the summer.
Yes.
Day of Wonders in the fall.
That sounds fun.
The Day of Wonders is fun. It's a big parade
Oh.
where the Church of Gond, the Temple of Gond, which is the god of invention, basically releases a bunch of automatons.
Oh.
And you can see them parade down the street.
That's-
Mm.
That
lost
doesn't
me.
sound as fun.
You don't like
wanna
robots?
Don't want to see that either.
Mm.
No, I really don't.
It's like Itchy and Scratchy Land.
Yeah, it should be nothing but fun. No violence happens then.
let's
But yeah,
see.
you mentioned the fall. Let's
The
The
Like
fall.
the Jarlaxle.
Oh.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
So-
this one happens down at the dock wards.
Mhm.
And
The urchins are playing there.
yeah, I'm
they're
trying to remember what
playing.
the name of the tiefling one is again. Squiggly.
Squiggly.
Squiggly. He has a beautiful purple hat. I wonder where that came from.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, cool.
And there's a
Jarlaxle
dead
gave it to him.
body.
That's awesome that you just put the hat in there like that, and
That's it.
that's all you need to know.
Yep.
A purple hat and
Yep.
and a dead body and
And the
Jarlaxle.
actual the ship in the background is significant as well, because a lot of what happens in the fall in this story does center around ships.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we? Well, maybe we shouldn't give any more.
Nah, that's fine.
Yeah. There's a lot that goes on there. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
Uh,
When we start talking about the maps for the product, we can talk a little bit more about ships.
Sure. Yeah, and actually, we brought in a newish cartographer for us for this product, right?
Right. His name is Dyson Logos, and I think that he's worked with Chris and the writers previously.
I had been familiar with his work,
Okay.
but had never actually worked on a product with him until this one. So
Yeah, and actually, same for me. Like I remember being a fan and having like used to be a map generator online that I
Yeah.
used that was like
His
it
style.
had like a Dyson tab, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. And then
Yeah.
when I started to see what he was doing for this product, I'm like, this is amazing.
maps are always interesting to me because you can go really super illustrative with them.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe they lose a bit of their utility because there's just almost like pieces of art in like full color illustrations. And then you can go very, very simple and basic and just sort of keep it clean, and it becomes a very utilitarian
Yeah,
thing that a DM can easily copy or use at the game table.
but doesn't have a lot of flavor.
Well, it can. It sort of depends on the nature of what you're illustrating and other techniques you can use to bring it alive. But with this product, we really are taking. This is an experiment for us because normally our maps are full color.
Yeah, the more illustrative maps, and we decided for this because for this and for Dungeon of the Mad Mage, because the maps are so important, and there's a lot of place that you're getting from the art itself, that the maps could be more utilitarian and easier to copy and use as the DM would like to use.
Yeah.
So we're trying that out this time with more clean and concise, utilitarian looking maps. They're still lovely.
Yeah.
They are. That's what I really like about Dyson Logos' work is that they are works of art, but they feel very clean. They feel like the concise word is perfect for that because it does. Oh, and hey, look,
Yeah.
there's a bit of a. That's not. That's
That's one of the ones from Dragon Heist.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is. That is a ship. Yeah, there we go.
But,
But
one
like
of
that
the-
cross hatching and stuff
Yes.
feels like it's like an artistic touch, but it is really just great visual information for dungeon masters to be like, okay, that's negative space.
Yeah.
We don't want to think about that.
And actually, in looking at the printed book, and I think Kate feels the same way, that the fact that the maps are in black and white, just they pop
Yeah,
really
it
well off
sets
the
them
page.
apart
Yeah,
really
from the
well.
art.
So if you're looking for a map, you can find your maps in your book a lot more easily as well.
Yes.
That's cool.
So that map we just saw is one of the maps from the product. It's a map of a vessel called the Scarlet Marpanoth.
Marpanoth. What's a Marpanoth?
Marpanoth is the Ferunian equivalent to October.
Oh, okay. It's a month.
It is a month.
I
Okay.
don't
Yes.
know. There's something else. You look very suspicious.
There might be a movie referred to somewhere. Scarlet.
Like
The
a
Scarlet
letter?
Marpanoth,
Like
the
Hunt for Red
Red October.
Oh, no.
Oh
I'm clicking it all.
my goodness.
The gears just clicked together. That's why he had the mischievous look on his face.
But how would a
There's always
civilian
something.
know that Marpanoth
Marpanoth.
is October?
Because they would listen to Dragon Talk.
Okay.
And the Lori should know
Teachable
on
moment.
Yeah.
calendar.
Like really, is there ever is there a dictionary? Like how would I know that?
Yeah.
I think it's
So-
Sword Coast Adventures Guide. There's a list of what the names of all the months are and
Oh, is
stuff like
there?
that. Yeah.
Right.
So if you were,
Yes.
could read, you might be able to figure it out.
Oh, well, that's not gonna happen.
we don't expect the party bard to get the in joke, but we do expect the players around the table to get the in joke.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shoot.
One ping only,
I got
please.
some
One
reading to
pane
do.
only.
Well, I love like I said, I love the maps that Dyson has been putting together, and I also want to give a shout out to Dyson Logos because, as far as we can tell, he is the first person to put googly eyes on D&D products.
Oh yes.
What? Seriously?
Yes, he did this online where he put the googly eyes on. I think it was our Player's Handbook. It started with them, and then he's been doing
Because
it.
of the stream of many eyes?
No, we used that motif
Oh.
Yeah.
because we didn't know we couldn't talk about what the product was while having an image that was about it.
Oh yeah.
So we needed some kind of anchoring thing, and the many eyes and the googly eyes, because
Yeah.
kind
I
of
love that.
we
Yeah.
landed on that because it was a part of the social media
Yeah,
memes that
it
were going
still
on.
makes me
So
laugh.
thank you for that, Dyson, as well,
Yes.
as well as all those awesome maps because I
Yeah.
think they look really cool.
So he did all of the maps?
He did all of the
Wow.
maps.
The
That
interior
seems like a
maps.
lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, there is a poster map which is very illustrative.
Of the city itself.
Yes.
Correct.
Oh,
Right.
cool.
Yeah. And that's done by Jason Engel.
Very cool. Yeah, I like that map as well.
Yep.
I just like maps.
Beautiful.
Yeah, maps are cool.
They transport me into the world so much, so much more even just art. Really, I feel like I'm a part of it. It's great.
And
Yeah.
the poster map of Waterdeep and Dragon Heist is double-sided. One side is player-friendly, and the other side has some additional information for the DM's eyes only.
Ooh, cool.
Locations that the DM would need to know about,
Mm-hmm.
but the players probably don't know about, at least not at first.
That's cool. There's actually a lot of handouts within the
There's a few.
like things on the code legal.
Right. We've got a handout of the Code Legal, which is basically the laws and punishments of Waterdeep, which
Oh.
is a nice little thing the DM can give to the players if they start getting ornery.
Or you can just before it. Preemptively, you can give it to them.
We have a map of an establishment that the players might end up owning. And we
Oh,
have
the tavern.
a handout of individuals that you can meet at the Yawning Portal Tavern who may or may not have useful information for you, and you may or may not be acquainted with.
That was
So-
was that a fun thing to commission?
Well, that art came from a few different places. Some of it was commissioned, and some of it was done by our on-site staff artists. So,
The Yawning Portal one with all the different characters in there.
That one.
well, and that's another thing. So that's Jason Thompson. And
Oh, really?
We just let him
Oh my god, I love him.
go to town with that. The key for that is incredible, amazing.
Yeah, we told him in the style of the other maps that he's done for our website, the sort of isometric cross view.
Right.
Render the Yawning Portal Tavern and put as many characters from FR lore and frankly, just D&D lore into the scene as you possibly can.
Oh my god, that's like the perfect assignment for him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's
I
characters
gotta see
from
this. I haven't seen
from things that you remember from the 80s
Yeah.
to the
Old-
streaming
yeah.
shows of today.
Baldur's Gate, from the old Baldur's Gate video games and other FR themed video games. There's even some surprise non-FR characters stuffed in there. Mordenkainen's in there, for instance.
Yeah.
At least one real world person
it. Where's
is stuffed in there.
Mordenkainen from?
Greyhawk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But he's friends with Elminster and has visited FR from time to time, so he's more than welcome at the Yawning Portal.
Nice.
Yeah.
That is cool. That's a really fun thing that you can really
So,
just spend an
yes.
afternoon with. Being
Right.
Like, oh, who is
Yeah.
that? Oh, who is
Yeah,
that?
a lot of people get the obvious ones like Dritz and Guinevere, but there are a bunch
Oh.
of FR from extended FR lore characters embedded in there too, where you'll be like, okay, I got to go to Wikipedia.
The Yawning
I
Portal
did.
is pet friendly.
Yes.
Okay, good. It's important.
That
Yeah.
is well, I mean,
People with
but
familiars.
Shelley's Hangout or Shelley's Doom, would that be pet friendly as well?
Oh yeah. Actually, it might just be a watering hole for familiars.
Ooh.
No people.
I like that.
Yeah.
What do familiars drink?
Anything they want.
Yeah. So, how do the Lords of Waterdeep factor into this story? Do they?
We keep them as far away from this story as possible.
They have okay.
Mostly
They're
because
just figureheads anyway.
Most-
Really?
yeah,
What do they
mostly,
really do?
Mostly because they're best kept in the shadows. If you diminish their mystery, they become a bit pedestrian. So we keep them mysterious because Waterdeep Dragon Heist is designed for 1st to 5th level characters. We don't expect low level characters to be rubbing shoulders with these individuals.
The Lords.
Yeah, so they are kept masked and hidden.
Okay.
That's
Still
good.
going to play Lords of Waterdeep, the
Right.
board game,
Yes.
while this storyline is happening.
Well, there's a lot of the locations that are in there that you
Yep.
can recognize from
Yeah.
Waterdeep, right? And as well as many of the quests and themes and things in there are all stuff that is part of this book, which is cool.
Yeah. We mostly focus on the things that we know you will interact with at that level, which is the City Watch, the City Guard, the guilds, and a few scattered nobles.
Oh.
Yeah, so talk a little bit about the guilds, because I think that is an important aspect of how the city's run, right?
Yeah, we've talked a little bit about this on Lore You Should Know, but the idea is basically that the power groups in Waterdeep are basically the Masked Lords and the Open Lord, who are essentially the government. Then there is the military, which is the City Guard and the City Watch, the soldiers and the police. Basically, that's the distinction there.
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got the nobles, who are the money. They bring the money into the city. And then you've got the guilds, and they basically oversee all of the professional work in the city. So if you go to a baker, that baker is probably a member of the Baker's Guild.
Okay.
And so that baker pays money to the guild to be a member, and the guild allows that baker essentially to run their business, get their ingredients on time, make sure that they never run out of flour and all that kind of stuff. They'll help promote the baker's business.
Sounds
and
awesome.
It is. It's the guilds. The guilds are there to sort of stabilize the economy of the city and protect the businesses in the city. Now, you can be a baker who's not part of the Baker's Guild, but the Baker's Guild won't like you very much, and it might be very hard for you to get the kinds of ingredients you need to make the things
Yes.
that you want to make. So think about that.
So you have to pay a dues to be part of the guild.
Yes,
Imagine, like
and
a
if you want
union.
to run a tavern, you probably want to make good with the brewers, distillers, and vintners guild, so
I
that you
would
get
like
you
to
get all the
anyway,
best spirits.
regardless.
Of course. If you want to be an innkeeper, you probably want to be a member of the Fellowship of Innkeepers guild, and you'll be well treated by them.
So
I'm
there's
sure.
like a guild for
there
almost
are lots and
everything?
lots of guilds,
not just a
yes.
hospitality guild.
Correct.
Oh,
My
Yes.
favorite guild is the Dung Sweepers Guild.
The Dung Sweepers Guild
have a
is a
guild
real
too?
thing. Yes, and
Oh.
they obviously do a good job because Waterdeep is a clean city
It looked very
By
nice
and
from
large.
those pictures.
by and large.
They're professionals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are places in Waterdeep that they don't frequent, so they're kind of dirty and scuzzy. But
It's a good guild. I think I like the idea of there being like a cleanup crew, like
Yeah.
wherever the
Yep.
adventurers
Mhm.
mess up, or even if there's the strife between the Xanathar and
Yeah.
and the Zentarum, that it's the Dung Sweepers who come in and
yeah,
make it all okay
and
afterwards.
so we have a master table of all the guilds in Dragon Heist so that the DM knows what they are.
Are they all run like similar? Like there's a guild master and then
Mhm.
like a guild board.
Yeah, basically. We don't go too far down the rabbit hole of defining who the members of the guild are. We, because the product talks about you running a business, a couple guild members are actually called out and identified.
Nice.
So as examples of of the type of person who typically is a member of this guild and what they can help you or offer you.
And there's a lot of visual reference in this book for characters, which I really liked. Like obviously the villains that we've mentioned, the urchins.
Yeah.
But there's just a lot of like just people that you
As
can
a big
see.
city would
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
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 So what was it like? Talking about those, getting those portraits and that kind of artwork together for this.
Well, the portraits are one of my favorite kinds of things to commission because the writers, Chris particularly, they have so much life to them, to these characters. They've already fleshed them out in their minds, and so it's just making sure that the artist gets that interesting kernel and is able to show it, and then letting them go to town on it. There are a number of artists that I always go to for those kind of portrait people that they add to the story with the visuals that they bring to it. So it's always fun and surprising sometimes to see where it leads us.
That's cool.
Sometimes.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was going to ask about one image that's basically seared on my retina.
Oh, I hope I remember.
Is the Zarda Zord.
Yeah. Good Lord.
It's going to be forever, I think, talked about.
Yes.
So yeah, who did that? That
was Scott
Is
Murphy.
this the shirtless dude?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
That was Scott
Can't forget
Murphy,
that.
and he did a fantastic job with it. It is not in the book.
What?
It's not.
It is not in the book.
It's just on your retinas.
It's just on my
in your
retinas?
memory.
Oh.
Did it just... Why?
Yes. There just
No room.
wasn't. Yeah.
There's always
We'll
cuts
find a
that gotta be
spot
There
there.
are
for him.
often casualties.
Yeah.
Well, we will post it
Oh
far
my
and wide
God.
because I think it's
You know what's going to happen?
What's that?
Nathan. Your head is
no.
going to end up on that body.
There's going to be some
He's
Photoshop.
going to Photoshop you.
It's going to be good.
That's a
If
perfect
there's any
candidate.
justice in the world.
I mean, I'm actually going to suggest that to him right after
Yeah.
this podcast.
I'm starting to realize that a lot of those images are suggestions from a.
What do you
A
think we
coworker.
talk about in our one-on-one meetings?
This all makes sense.
They're not always just playing Dungeon Mayhem.
No,
No.
but most of the time.
No.
Well, I mean, I loved how you brought the city to life, both in the writing and how visually I think people will get an understanding of what a big city in Faerun in general looks like, but more specifically Waterdeep. It looks really, really cool. And I think people are going to be using those as, old school, showing off the book and letting people see, like, this is what this looks like. This is this area, especially the 2-color pages spreads that we were just going through, are just transport people into that world very easily. And I think that's really cool.
It's always a treat when the marketing fit in with what we're doing in the book. And
Yeah.
thankfully Chris made that happen.
Something else we have in this book that we haven't done in an adventure yet for 5th edition is we have an entire section of the book that's basically like a tourist's guide. And so that's really the part of the book where we got to show off through art a lot of the city and its structures and its features.
And how do you pronounce that section?
So it's called Volos in Caridian.
Enchiridion.
Yeah.
Incredible. It's
And,
incredible.
Enchiridian is sort of how it's spelled.
Yes, that's why we were all
And, yeah.
confused. What does that mean? What does Enchiridion mean?
It's just it's like a what's the word? It's Volo's complete guide to. So
Makes sense.
It's his take.
Everything that interests him.
It's
He's
his
like
take
the Rick
on
Steves of water. Like this is his.
This is his take on the city.
Like a Lonely Planet guy.
Right, and it's all sort of written in his voice. But then all the illustrations in the section are all full color illustrations that Kate commissioned. that are designed to show off the things he's talking about, like the drays and the coaches of Waterdeep, which are kind of weird. Some of them look like hansoms from Victorian England, but others look like double-decker buses, these horse-drawn buses, essentially, that are unique to Waterdeep. Those had to be illustrated. We had some concept art of them, but then Kate rendered a final finished piece that basically runs across the bottom of 2 pages.
And that
neat.
was
Yeah,
part
that
of
was
the
really
lore?
pretty.
These
Yes,
coaches?
yes.
Okay.
But we had never, ever shown them ever in art before. And I remember in the concept phase, we actually had trouble with them. Like, we had trouble landing on a design that we liked.
That made sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Until we saw the final piece that, I can't remember who's the artist who did that.
That was
one.
Claudio Posas.
Thank you.
Claudio, he's been on Dragon Talk.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Nailed
Good
it.
shout out
Yeah.
for Claudio.
yeah. He's
Yeah.
a man of many talents.
Yep.
Very much
Yeah.
so.
And then we had tricky pieces like, hey, we want to do this half-page illustration of one of the walking statues of Waterdeep. And, oh, by the way, it's 90 feet tall, and you have to show it all, and we want some people in the foreground for scale.
Oh.
And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
And
How
a
do you wrestle with
half-page
that, Kate?
illustration.
Yeah, how do you do that? Well, we have two images with the walking statues
We
in
do.
it. And one, the camera is up on the second, third, fourth floor of a building, and the other one you're down on the streets with kind of a dizzying view.
Oh, that's cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
We touched on using the walking statues during the Stream Any Eyes, but just having a foot. That was the only thing that we could fit in the studio.
And that worked well.
It worked
Statues
well.
are like that size.
They're that size.
in Waterdeep.
In Waterdeep.
And they walk around.
Not anymore. So they
For the most
stopped.
part.
They stopped walking around after the spell plague.
Okay.
But now that they're sort of permanent features of so this is actually I was going to talk about these in the lore you should know.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Well, great. We can do that for
we
sure.
can save that. But long story short, they can walk around, and that's not necessarily a good thing
No, I don't think it would ever be a good thing.
in a crowded city.
Yeah.
that would be.
That foot? No.
I'd love
Yeah.
seeing
I'm
the
just
concept
thinking about the
artwork
set.
of the buildings that were built around these now laying down statues
Yes.
and stuff.
Yes.
That was
Yes.
very evocative.
Mm-hmm.
So
Really cool.
Yeah.
maybe one day those will walk again more often.
Yes, but those illustrations in particular are two of my favorites because they show off the city really, really well.
Yeah.
But they're also very dramatic. This is not your typical medieval city. As soon as you see those illustrations, you realize that.
Yeah. That was the thing that set it apart for sure. Like, it's not just London. This is
Right.
This is
Yeah.
Waterdeep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. Awesome. Well, people will be able to dig in to this book September 7th in game stores and September 18th everywhere after that. So they will be able to.
Not too far away now.
I know, it's very soon.
Yeah.
Very soon. It's going to be cool. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Any other parting words before we close the book on the artwork here of Dragon Heist?
I guess not.
I guess not.
All right.
No. Yeah.
Dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Before
There's-
you know it, we'll be showing off the artwork for Catacomb.
That's true.
Yes, which was
Yes.
our code name for
Yes.
for
We do have
Dungeon
one
Mad
piece
Mage.
from Catacomb.
Oh, do we have?
Did you send it to Pelham?
A tie-in piece
Yeah.
Ooh.
of
Yeah. I
showing
wanna
showing
see.
our three favorite urchins in the Yawning Portal Tavern.
Wha-
Oh,
did
no
they
way.
go out in the
It's the first time
Yawning
I've seen this art,
Yes.
too.
Yeah. So
That
they're,
is cool.
they're headed down
Yeah.
to Undermountain
Yeah, God's help them.
to see what.
Yeah. So that's the wall of the Yawning Portal
That's
that goes
right.
down in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the
that's
well.
the
And
well.
they're sort of playing on the device that is
No.
used to lower adventures down inside it. This was actually Jeremy Crawford's idea.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted an illustration that bridged the two books, and so
I
Here it
like
is.
that. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
So this well just exists there in the middle of a bar?
it's called the Yawning Portal because
It's
in
got
the
a
middle of the
portal.
tap room, it's got this big giant
I mean, it doesn't
door
look very
to Under
protected.
Mountain. It's not. It's
So
not at
could
all.
you just accidentally fall in it?
Absolutely. Yes.
I mean, you're at a tavern. It
Right.
seems very likely that.
it's possible. It's
You might
possible.
be drunk.
It's possible you
You
could
might
just
get-
fall down in which case, too bad. Welcome to Under Mountain the hard way.
Oh.
You just fell 140 feet down into this hole. So
That's a lot of D6s.
yeah,
Do we have enough D6s?
the hole wasn't. It was there before the tavern. Durnan, the proprietor of the tavern, built the tavern on the hole so that he could basically monopolize the one known entrance to Under Mountain.
Oh, wow.
Smart guy.
He's a very smart customer.
If that's
cat.
the only
Cookie?
known entrance, it's the only known exit.
Yes. Now, there are other entrances to Undermountain, and there are other exits to Undermountain, but most people don't know where they are, and they're not so easy to find. So Durnan has he's squatting on this one, and
Good
he
one,
charges adventurers to lower themselves down into it, and he charges them to pull them back out.
Oh, that's a good business to be
Pretty
in
good
right
gig.
there.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, for those of you who are listening in podcast land, you didn't get to see these visuals, so go ahead and watch these on twitch.tv/DND to get exactly what we're talking about, but we'll release some of these images. Probably not the Dungeon of the Mad Mage one. That might be one we leave to you to discover on the videos. But yeah, that Dungeon of the Mad Mage comes out November 2nd, so you'll be able to check that out. That's also not that far away, really.
I know.
So soon.
Yes.
Thank you guys for dropping in and talking about this book. I can't wait for
always
more people to get it.
I love learning the behind the scenes,
Me
the
too.
words and the art.
Also, his voice is really mesmerizing.
I know.
Like
It
listening
is.
to
I
you
feel very
talk.
relaxed.
And I'm really listening, but then I'm kind of like swinging back and forth, and I'm like, no, listen to the words.
No.
Don't listen to the cadence.
Chris Perkins ASMR.
I was
We'll be
just
doing it
thinking
soon.
that. I just saw Netflix has this BuzzFeed things. It's like kind of like Lore You Should Snore. No.
Nor?
Lore You Should Snore.
Nor?
Lore You Should Know.
Or you
but
should
like,
snort. Should be.
It just goes directly
show.
into your
Yeah.
They
brain.
just did one on ASM. I get all the,
It's
what
a
is
thing.
it?
Yeah, ASMR.
ASMR.
Yeah.
And you could totally be making videos on YouTube
There we go.
just talking.
And then maybe you wouldn't have to work
And then, like,
weekends.
That
And
is-
then like touching.
Or maybe you will only work
I
weekends.
like this
It
plan.
depends.
You know what? We should work that into this podcast. Like just touching little pieces of fabric. That's what they do.
Careful
It's
what you ask for.
creepy.
It is.
It's weird
very-
and creepy.
And
was
but a lot of people enjoy it, so
totally
it's not
fascinating.
necessarily bad.
No.
All right, well, thank you everybody. We're going to take a quick break and come back with some even more fun stuff, including an interview with Josh Peralt and Victoria Rogers as soon as we get that all video happening. So thank you to you guys, and we'll be back soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.